Moral education theory. First, Sigmund Freud psychoanalysis theory. Sigmund Freud was the founding father of psychoanalysis, a method for treating mental illness and also a theory which explains human behavior. Freud believed that events in our childhood have a great influence on our adult life, shaping our personality. For example, anxiety originating from traumatic experience in a person's past is hidden from consciousness and may cause problems during adulthood. What is psychoanalysis? Psychoanalysis is a system of psychological theory and therapy which aims to treat mental disorder by investigating the interaction of conscious and unconscious elements in the mind and bringing repressed fears and conflicts into the conscious mind by techniques such as dream interpretation and free association. The unconscious mind. Freud compared the mind to an iceberg. The first one, the conscious, the small amount of mental activity we know about. Second, the subconscious, things we could be aware of if we wanted or try. The third one, the unconscious, things we are unaware of and cannot become aware of. The last one is the idea is part of the unconscious mind and comprises the two instincts, eros and thanatos. From Sigmund Freud, he thought about the psyche. Freud later developed a more structural model of the mind comprising the entities id, ego, and superego. These are not physical areas within the brain, but rather hypothetical conceptualization of important mental functions. Freud assumed the idea operated at an unconscious level according to the pleasure principle. The idea comprised two kinds of biological instinct, which Freud called eros and thanatos. For the ego, develops from the idea during infancy. The ego's goal is to satisfy the demands of the idea in a safe, socially acceptable way. In contrast to the idea, the ego follows the reality principle as it operates in both the conscious and unconscious mind. And the last one is the superego develops during early childhood when the child identifies with the same sex parent and is responsible for ensuring moral standards are followed. The superego operates on the morality principle and motivates us to behave in a socially responsible and acceptable manner. Next, we go Jean Piaget theory of moral development. Jean Piaget conceptualizes moral development as a constructivist process, whereby the interplay of action and thought build moral concept. Piaget was principally interested not in what children do, for example whether they break rules or not, but in what they think. In other words, he was interested in children's moral reasoning. In Jean Piaget theory, there is two morality, such as heteronomous morality, moral realism, and autonomous morality, that moral relativism. Heteronomous morality. The stage of heteronomous morality is also known as moral realism, morality imposed from the outside. Children regard morality as obeying other people's rules and laws which cannot be changed. They accept that all rules are made by some authority figure, such as parents, teacher, God, and that breaking the rule will lead to immediate and severe punishment. The function of any punishment is to make the guilty suffer, in that the severity of the punishment should be related to severity of wrongdoing. And the second one is autonomous morality. The stage of autonomous morality is also known as moral relativism, morality based on your own rules. Children recognize there is no absolute right or wrong, that morality depends on intention, not consequences. Children now understand that rules do not come from some mystical divine light source. People make rules and people can change them. They are not inscribed on tablets of stone with regards to the rules of the game. All the children recognize that rules are needed to prevent quarreling and to ensure fair play. Piaget described the morality of the older child as an autonomous morality. For example, a morality that is subject to its own law. The change is partly seen as a result of the child's general cognitive development, partly due to declining egocentrism, and partly to the growing importance of the peer group.
Hi, hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nukayati. So I'm gonna present about Lawrence Kohlberg's moral development theory. Kohlberg's theory of moral development is a theory that focuses on how children develop morality and moral reasoning. Kohlberg's theory suggests that moral development occurs in a series of 6 stages. The theory also suggests that moral logic is primarily focused on seeking and maintaining justice. Kohlberg believes that moral development theory have 6 stages. Stage 1 is obedience and punishment. Stage 2 is self-interest. Stage 3 is interpersonal accord and conformity. Stage 4, authority and maintaining social order. Stage 5 is social contract, and stage 6 is universal ethical principle. Stage 1 and stage 2 is level pre-conventional moral. For stage 1 is obedience and punishment. Children will think no difference between doing the right thing and avoiding punishment. It means like when Tom saw Mike get bullying or fighting, Tom will think, if I help Mike, I will be that fighting too. So teacher will punishment me. And Tom also think, if I not help Mike will be injury. So in this stage, children will think about advantage and disadvantage to have that Mike get bullying. Stage 2 is self-interest. Interest shifts to reward rather than punishment. Effort is made to secure greatest benefit for oneself. In this situation, Mia saw Mike get bullying. So Mia will help Tom and Mike in that fighting. Mia will not think about the advantage and disadvantage, but she will think, if I help Mike, I will get bullying too by these children. So in this stage, Mia will think about benefit about himself after she help Mike in that fighting. Stage 3 and 4 is conventional moral. Stage 3 is interpersonal accord and conformity. That means the good boy or good girl level. Effort is made to secure approval and maintain friendly relations with others. For example, like when Tracy saw Mike get bullying, she will think, she also saw another children just watching them fighting. So will think, oh, I just watch them. So people will feel me I'm a good girls, avoid the fighting or something. So in this stage, children will think, if I help them, I may be a bad girl. But if I don't help them in the fighting, just show them I will be a good girl. Stage 4. Authority and maintaining social order. Orientation toward fixed rule. The purpose of morality is maintaining the social order. Interpersonal accord is expanded to include the entire society. It means when the teacher saw a group children fighting, a teacher will go over there and stop the fighting and say, if fighting is forbidden for the school. Teacher also think this kid must know about law and order. Teacher feel it's my duty for say to them about the law and rule. So the teacher will think, how can I tell about the law and order to them, so them will know what is wrong and what is right in the school. Stage 5 and 6 is post-conventional moral. Stage 5 is social contract. Mutual benefit, reciprocity. Morally right and legally right are not always the same. Utilitarian rules that make life better for everyone. But in this stage, it's about the rules, good or bad for some people or not. Okay, is that mean like when cleaner in that school saw teacher punishment the children in that fighting, she will think the small one children is not must be punishment because not he start the fighting, but the big one start the fighting, and she will think, is that deserve for the small children to get punishment or not? Okay, some people also think it's good. This law this punishment is good for two children because fighting is forbidden in the school. Stage 6 is universal ethical principles. Morality is based on principles that transcend. So for example, like it's for principal in that school. Principal in that school will do or make and show them rule about the school. The rule that principal make for the school. Principal will think people must know about this rule for other benefits, but also principal will think will other principal will accept my rule or not. So principal will make this rule and will show to them about the rules if they agree or not about this rule. So if they have many benefit or disadvantages for community.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So today I would like to share about theory of moral education, theory multiple intelligence by Howard Gardner. According to Gardner, individuals draw on this intelligence individually and corporately to create products and solve problems that are relevant to the societies in which they live. They identify intelligence include linguistic intelligence, logical mathematical intelligence, spatial intelligence, musical intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, naturalistic intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, and intrapersonal intelligence. Now, let us look at the first intelligence, which is verbal linguistic intelligence. This intelligence involves the knowing which comes through language, through reading, writing, and speaking. If you are in this intelligence, you are likely precise in expressing yourself and irritated when others are not. You love learning new words, you do well with writing assignments, and your comprehension of anything you read is high. The second part of intelligence is mathematical logical intelligence. This intelligence uses numbers, math, and logic to find and understanding the various patterns that occur in our lives through patterns, number patterns, visual patterns, color patterns, and so on. You probably like to enjoy working with numbers and mathematical formulas and operations. And you also probably systematic and organized, and you likely always have a logical, rational, or argument for what you are doing or thinking at any given time. The third one is visual spatial intelligence. This intelligence represents the knowing that occur through the shapes, image, patterns, design, and texture we see with our external eyes, but also include all of the image we are able to conjure inside our heads. You tend to think in image and picture. You are likely excellent at performing tasks that require seeing with the mind eye, such as visualing, pretending, imagining, and forming mental image. Next type of intelligence is bodily kinesthetic intelligence. This way of knowing happens through physical movement and through the knowing of our physical body. You tend to have a keen sense of body awareness. You probably communicate well through body language and other physical gesture. The fifth one is about musical rhythmic intelligence. This is the knowing that happens through sound and vibration. However, it is not limited to music and rhythm, so it can be called an auditory vibrational. So you likely have a love of music and rhythmic patterns. You may be skilled at mimicking sounds, language accents, and other speech patterns, and you can probably readily recognize different musical instruments in a composition. Next, we look at the interpersonal intelligence. This is the person-to-person way of knowing. It is the knowing that happens when we work with and relate to other people. It needed for effective person-to-person communication and relating. From that particular situation, it has having a deep understanding of other points of view, and actually skill at drawing others out in a discussion. So move on to the next one. It's about intrapersonal intelligence. It involves our awareness of the inner world of the self, emotion, values, beliefs, and our various quests for journeying spiritually. You are probably self-reflective and self-aware, and thus you tend to be in tune with your inner feelings, values, beliefs, and thinking process. The last type of intelligence is naturalist intelligence. It involves the full range of knowing that occur in and through our encounter with the natural world, including our recognition, appreciation, and understanding of the natural environment. You have a love for the outdoors, animal, plants, and almost any natural object. You tend to have an affinity with and respect for all living things. From this approach, it seems to be able to accept the similarities and differences between individuals with recognizing that each student is unique in a different way of learning. It is also to give increased self-esteem, creativity, and motivation through teaching and fun learning. Supporters of Gardner's theory claim that a better approach to assessment is to allow students to explain the material in their own ways using the different intelligence. In a conclusion, Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence provides a theoretical foundation for recognizing the different abilities and talents of students. This theory acknowledges that while all assessing learning in this manner allows a wider range of students to successfully participate in classroom learning. That's all from me.